Garinagu, Sarawama. Sarawama, Garinagu, Sarawama. Sarawama, Garinagu, Sarawama. Millennium 2000 is upon us. Still we sit around with a fuss. Arise, indigenous people. Sarawama, Garinagu, Sarawama. Sarawama, Lida, Yewenedu. Sarawama, Garinagu, Sarawama. Chulu, Hada, Nidumeyu. The time is now, Garinagu. Sarawama, Garinagu, Sarawama. Wake up, Garinagu, Sarawama.
Hello, hello, radio listeners. This is once again Garifuna Nation with Radio Dumurei, all the way from California. And along with my co-host, Joseph Guerrero and Bill Flores, our guests are Jose Aleman, who is the village chairman of Sienbait, and Desmond Ramirez, who is the village chairman of Georgetown Village. We'll be talking to these two gentlemen, featuring their roles as village council chairman. And later on in the program, I think we'll be joined by Dora Williams, midwife from Sienbait. Welcome, gentlemen. Jose Aleman.
Good evening. Good evening.
And Joseph Guerrero, Bill Guerrero, and Desmond Ramirez. I want to have perhaps Joseph and Bill to introduce themselves as we, jump into this 90 minutes of discussion. Go ahead, Joe.
My name is Joseph Guerrero, and I am definitely a land activist for Garifuna. I believe Garifuna need to have their own land, and they need to have their own space where they can be Garifuna without apology. And I hope to get the support through Garifuna Nation. All of us work together and look to our land rights in Belize. Thank you.
Good. Hey, Bill.
Hey, good afternoon to everybody. My name is Bill Flores. One of the founders of Gary Vision Garifuna. I've been a Garifuna advocate for most of my life, and I know that there's a lot of issues within our communities that if we want to, we can solve easily. But the only way we can do it is if we live if we use the ILO 169 and live under the tenets of Garifuna Duo.
Very good, very good. So the issue for the Garifuna Nation, one of the major issues is the issue of land rights. And we are going around visiting the villages of where the Garifuna people live. And starting, last month, a couple of months ago, we were in Uganda Hopkins. I intentionally like to use the word Uganda because that's how our ancestors refer to the village of Hopkins. Now we are in Georgetown and Sienbait, reviewing, what's the nature of things in Sienbait through the eyes of the village chair, Jose Aleman. Jose Aleman, you want to say something to our listeners? There's Judith. She's joining us, and her mom will be joining us. Hey, Jose, you might have to unmute, Jose.
Yes, good day, guys. So, let me give you a formal introduction.
Yes.
My name is Mr. Jose Aleman. I'm presently the chairperson, Sienbait Village. By profession, I am also a technical officer / coach educator. And our work in the community is advocating for our youths and the well-being of our community members on a whole.
Good, Jose. Jose, let me ask, how long have you been a chairperson of Sienbait?
At this point in time, I would have served half my term. This is the first time I'm chairperson, and I have served for at least 1.5 years so far.
Good. So I wanted to get an idea as village chair. And what are some of your your daily or weekly activities as a village chair? What comes under your responsibility?
Well, it's basically advocating and working in the best interests of the people, the brother. That is some of our mandated responsibilities is roadside cleaning. We have our cemetery to clean as well. We have our recreational areas. We're mandated to make sure that several different activities occur within the community. That is the September celebrations, the November 19th celebrations. We also plan different events like family activities for the community. Of course, a lot of that has been placed on halt due to the pandemic that we're facing at the moment. Nonetheless, the job does not done. As it requires, or as the people requires different stuff to be done, we are open ears as to what we must write to government to see that it has been done in a most holistic manner, of course. Like for instance, one of the rising gripes of the community members of CMI is to actually to get our community properly demarcated. That way, it could easily be identified by our boundary. By our boundary, where CMI lies and where Placentia lies, and what is ours and what is not. So that is a pressing issue that we are focusing on as a council, and that is what we are actually figuring as our goal mine at the moment, because if that has been done within these 3 years, then that is a major accomplishment for our people. On another note, we're also securing avenues as to get a full-time practitioner in CMI, that is either a nurse or a doctor to be working at our health center, as we have been out of a health center for almost over a decade now.
Wow.
Another initiative that we're looking forward to do in CMI is to acquire land for land expansion and for our first time landowners. You know, we have many youths in CMI, and at this point in time, they're almost in their 30s, and they cannot proudly say that they have a piece of the jewel. So we're advocating for that almost 150%. Also, we've seen whereby we may be having relocation risk. It may be due to climate change, or technically maybe just relocation risk caused by the government on a whole. You know, we know that the Placentia Peninsula is a gold mine, and we never know when someone might tell you, well, we have this different area for you to go. We'll be compensating you, but we're actually forced to leave. Something like that may occur in the future. I'm not foreseeing it, but then it is something that we cannot just let unfold.
All right.
You know?
Okay, Jose. We want to hold it right there because I'm sure Joe Guerrero and Bill might want to have a few questions as to, you know, that demarcation between Cienbite and Placentia. Joe.
No, I'm very interested in knowing personally. You have Cienbite, but I heard that you have an area called North Placentia. And where does this North Placentia area run? Do you know
Well,
about that?
North Placentia is being used by the LIC. That is within the natural, the Ministry of Natural Resources. So North Placentia is a registration within the peninsula. It covers from Point Placentia all the way up to before you get all the way up to the plantation, or before you get to the plantation. So North Placentia is not signaling that it is Placentia on a whole, but it is just a registration that covers registered parcels of lands in both Placentia Village and Samebite village. So the lands above the plantation area would not be in the registration area, and they would only appear as lots, while the lands within the registration area, which is not Placentia, would be recognized as parcels.
It's very interesting that the government has plotted lots in what they call North Placentia, which includes a part of St. Bite and a part of Placentia village. I'm just wondering, when did they consult the rightful landowners before they drew plots or lots and prepared those lots? When did they consult the landowners?
Well, because we have just recently won, Joe, and because presently we have a new administration as well, it is the duty of the council to seek redress as to why such was done. We would need to do an inquiry and also a research. To my knowledge, I understand that this decision was made some 10 years ago under the previous administration. So we would need to look into all of that. And when we have all our cards on the table, we could then make a request as to a change to be made.
No,
Personally,
Bill, yeah, go ahead.
I have heard of this move prior to 10 years ago. I'd heard of this actually. I am just asking questions for the sake of the audience, you know. But personally, I'd heard of it prior to the 10 years, maybe even about 12 to 15 years. I'd heard that area being referred to as North Placentia. And I recall it being a controversial move. But in any event, who is in charge of your land, your land portfolio in the village council?
Jose? Yeah, Jose.
Jose Maria. Jose
Aleman. And we're having technical difficulties. Maybe Saint-Simon, you could help Judith. She's saying that they can't hear us. I don't know what's going on with their gadgets. But Jose, would you be able to respond to that question? And Desmond doesn't have his chat. His audio is also off. Judith's audio is also off.
Yeah, what I noticed from the south, they come in and go in, come in and go out, come in and go out.
Yeah, it's not too good.
That's what I.
Yeah, so the reception is bad, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pity because you know we're not
For a
getting.
minute, guys. Just had to put in my headphones just now. Sorry, pardon me.
Okay, can you hear us though, Jose?
Yes, I can hear you guys.
Okay, because we're having problem with Desmond. Desmond, I don't know if he's hearing us, but I don't see any kind of signal that he will be able to talk to us. Neither will Judith. I don't think.
Judith
Would
and
you advise
Desmond,
them to go in and come out, Saint-Simon?
Yeah,
Judith and Desmond?
Judith and Desmond, just sign in back, sign out and sign in back because
Yeah, we don't see the icon for for your mic. So Judith and Desmond, could you log out and come in later?
What I think they could do, Saint-Simon, is to the far left of their screen. They could put connect to internet phone, and then they will be able to
call
to the
over
far left
internet.
of their screen.
Yeah, just tap the screen. You'll see the microphone pop up. Tap the screen. You'll see the microphone pop up. Then you'll see call over internet. Or dial in. Press call over internet.
Yeah.
Maybe you could chat with them, Saint-Simon, in the chat section and see if that works. Desmond and Judith. Yeah,
Okay,
Jose.
The
Jose,
question,
the question was, go ahead, Joe, because I want to follow up on your
the
question.
question was, who is in charge of the land portfolio for the village?
Okay, the person responsible for the land portfolio within the community would be our secretary, which is Mr. Akin Palacio.
Mhm.
And then as the overseer, as the chairman, of course, I would look after all the business to make sure that it has been done in the most proper manner, no?
Mhm. Okay, very good. Thank you. Bill?
Yes, Jose. This
Yes,
is
go
Bill
ahead.
Flores. This is Bill Flores. You
Yes,
mentioned
Bill.
that you guys are involved right now in a demarcation. Uh, who ordered this demarcation and for what purposes?
Okay, back in the term 2004 to 2007, this was when my brother was chairperson, Mr. John Raymond Morales. Placentia was the one who had a claim over CMBite. That their claim was that CMBite was before Robert's Grove. So when they made this claim to the Ministry of Rural Development, Ministry of Rural Development came in so that both community could have had a peaceful transition in a way of solving this matter. But take into consideration, this matter, based on information that I had retrieved, was only brought up because at the time for revenue purposes. As you all know, communities would receive their revenues from liquor license. Whilst both village council then were given ample time to do their research, when they had the first sitting, Placentia Village Council had nothing to show. So they had asked for an additional 3 months to do so. That 3 months was given. Then the rural coordinator was Miss Zaiden. After that 3 months was given, still Placentia had nothing to show that their claim was sound. However, CMBite had all documentation in their favor. So on March 16th or March 5th, somewhere around March, let me stick to those, March 2005, a Roberts Grove declaration was signed and quorum was met by both Placentia Village Council and CMBite Village Council, where a memorandum was drafted and Placentia had to agree with CMBite, giving them the benefit of the doubt because they had nothing to show. However, Placentia had asked CMBite to have conceded with them because CMBite, based on the information or the evidence that they had, CMBite was actually at one residence who is known as Mr. James, Dr. James McCleary. But CMBite conceded, I would assume, almost a 1.5 miles or 2 miles to Placentia, leading us to Merlington's estate. All this information is drafted out in the Roberts Grove Declaration/Agreement. A memorandum was to be further established, whereby, based on this memorandum, the Ministry of Rural Development would have requested from the Ministry of Natural Resources that the place be properly demarcated and the boundaries identified to have brought this matter to closure. Years have passed. None of our leaders made any attempt to look at this. However, Placentia is fully aware of the Roberts Grove Agreement. I can attest to this because even when people from out of CMBite proper ask for a recommendation, they are sent to the CMBite Village Council office. Notwithstanding, we as a council at this point in time is readily prepared to pick up that document again and see that this declaration comes to a reality. And like I told Science Woman, or Mr. Hino, if I'm not making a mistake, that we would have drafted a letter and sent it to the Minister of Rural Transformation, which we did already, and we're supposedly going to get a response as of this Tuesday coming with respect to the direction that we're going to bring a closure to the boundary issues with respect to Placencia and Sambai.
So, Brother Jose, can you send us a copy of that letter? Yeah, I don't know if Joe and Bill would support me in, you know, making sure that we make this issue public. We think that the whole world needs to know that the administrators of Belize in all shape and form want to make Saint-Bite extinct. Erase the name Saint-Bite off the map. That's my interpretation of this move. And so we think that it is a violation, an international violation of our indigenous land rights. And we will not stand by and make it just a deal between a small group of people and these powerful administrators in Bemapan. We want the world to know what's going on. What do you say, Bill?
Okay, though I appreciate the attempt to work within their system, within the system of the Belize government, but I think doing so is starting from the second page. I think what Saint Bite need to do as a beginner is claim that area as Garifuna land. And that will challenge the whole system with all these agreements and this demarcation and everything else. Because if, like Joe, he asked the question, the rightful owners, and the rightful owners are Garinogu, because it's Garinogu land according to international and according to Belize law, backed up by the Maya, so-called Maya land rights case. So maybe I think this is one way to think. This would be a good way to go to approach all these MOUs and all these and all this information that come from that Westminster system, because this is Garifuna land according to international law and according to Belize law, and I think our response should come from that angle. Thanks.
Can I say something?
Yeah, Leroy, go ahead. Leroy,
sorry.
could you identify yourself, Leroy, your last name?
Sure. Leroy Chimilio.
Yeah, Chimilio. Okay.
So thank you guys for all you're saying. I really appreciate the hard work you have been doing.
Yeah, I have a question for you to Leroy when you're done.
Yeah. I look at this at a different angle, right? And the question is, if I get the land, I get the claim, so what? And let me tell you why I say this.
Well, I didn't get the last part. Said
Right,
Garifuna got the land for what? You said?
Assuming Garifuna get the land, so we file papers.
This is not an assumption.
All right.
But go ahead.
And then the question is, so what?
I can hear you.
So what?
Thank you, Judith.
What I think needs to be done, all right? We need to have, and I'm sorry if I'm insulting anyone, but we need to have a plan in terms, not the getting the land, but after we get the land. For example, we give our girlfriends the land in St. Bite. What if they sell the land to a Chinese? What if they give it up? Right?
Well, I think.
Let me finish here. My thinking is that we got to go by this by building a community, not just land. So we need to get, I don't know, 10, 50, whatever number we have of Garifuna folks. We start building a community. We start building business inside the community. Make it a Garifuna owned community and have some stipulation. If anyone leave the community within 5 years, they have to pay it back. If they leave within 10 years, they got to pay it back. We need to put something in place so that when the land is given to us, like it belongs to state to us. You guys all know it's very familiar. Dangriga doesn't belong to Garifuna anymore. And for that
Okay,
reason,
Leroy, I think you made the point. I think the point
Let me make a correction here to what Leroy is saying and the approach that he's taking. The approach that Leroy, you said Dangriga is not Garifuna land. It is.
it's not owned by Garifuna.
Wait. According to Belize law,
That's
according to Belize law, it is. I don't care what anybody thinks or projects or anything else. According to Belize law, Dangriga is Garifuna land, and I'm taking that from the precedent-setting case, Maya land rights case.
Yeah.
So that we have to be clear of.
Yes, I want to also ask Leroy if or ask Leroy, I want to frame it properly by saying to you that if you perhaps this is the position you are taking. The position you're taking perhaps might be that the British and the Spanish, right, have more claim to the indigenous people of Belize. Is that what you're saying? And perhaps if that's what you're saying, then we might have to use different forms of reference. So I just want to make that position, I want to put that position on the table. If you are saying that, yes, we came after the British and the Spanish, is that what you're saying?
no. I'm saying that it is our land, but there is law, and it's practical. And I'm telling you that 30 years ago, 90% of all land Dangriga belongs to the Garifunas. Now the land belongs to a lot of Chinese, a lot of Spanish. So they have, and my point is that we can give Garifuna land today in St. Bite, but who's to say that 20 years from now it doesn't become another Dangriga?
Yeah, that's the issue in terms of, yeah, Leroy, I think that's the issue when it comes to our being educated, all right? And I myself, I'm being educated as to what you call customary land law. If Conte, who is the law, we're not talking about lawlessness. We're not talking about the administrator's lawless principle in terms of reference. We are talking about international precedents, right? International precedents makes the Maya land rights case well established beyond a shadow of a doubt. And so the question I would ask is, what makes the Mayan more indigenous than the Garifuna? Why is it that the law itself is only applied to the Mayan and it's not applied to the Garifuna, who are both indigenous in terms of land right?
Organization in PG, right? The Mayan, they are moving into Barranco. They are getting more and more space,
but that's another matter, right? That's another matter, right? What we are trying to establish is what is the law by principle. What is the law? By custom, because laws are established by custom and precedents. If I'm not an attorney,
right? I would like to offer, I've heard concerns. This is Joe Guerrero, Leroy. I've heard concerns such as what you have expressed. I've heard it through the years. And this is the reason why, Leroy, I believe that we in Garifuna Nation must educate the Garinago in Belize about their rights. We're not educated about our rights. And there are there's relief in the law right now for the situations that you pose, which are definitely a concern and which is definitely going to be a headache. But for right now, I wanted to continue listening to Jose Maria Aleman and get a good layout of the situation with him and with Ramatical or Desmond Ramirez. And, they're on the ground. These guys are the principals in the village and they have a good grasp on what's going on. I wanted to ask, we're still with Jose Maria.
Yes.
Jose Maria.
Then we go to
I wanted to
Desmond.
know. Yeah, what I wanted to know from you finally, who did the historical studies for the village. I'm not talking about looking at the government's map, but who actually did the historical studies on the village to determine the village's borders? Because as you know, the village borders are not determined by the government maps only. It's also determined by the historical use of the
The,
people who live in
the
the village.
archaeological investigation.
Do you know who did the historical and archaeological investigation?
Well, let me offer.
Yes,
Let me go ahead,
at
Jose.
this point in time, we have past researchers and we have
Mhm.
present stuff being done at the moment. And when I say present, it leads now into the National Garifuna Council's project, along with all Garifuna communities, where they are also, I think, moving in a similar direction that the Maya did in the South. But the research in itself from the past was done by the chairperson then and his councillors back in 2004 to 2007.
When you
where
say
they had
chairperson, you're talking about the chairperson of National Garifuna Council?
No, the chairperson of the council,
Okay, Village Council. Mhm.
village council, back in
The village council.
2004 to 2007. They
So-
were the first
So,
ones.
Ramatica, I mean,
They were the
Jose
first
Maria.
ones who
Sorry, go
defended.
ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that council then were the first ones who defended that particular claim from Placencia, right? And working along with the NGC at this moment in time, we have our council, along with the NGC branch, same right, along with the national branch, working to see how we could go into these different places or backtrack these researches that were done in the past to bring them to life and present at this moment in time. As NGC is also on voyage to try to see how not only to get the proper demarcation of CMI, but to also be compensated for land loss of the Garinago people in CMI. As lot of that has been lost over the years that has passed.
One question I have: who's leading this demarcation of land on behalf of the National Garifuna Council?
I work along with Mr. Delano Palazzo, who is the NGC president CMI.
Okay.
And I
there-
have just one other question. How can we get a copy of the
Report.
research that was performed? Is that possible?
Well, I would need to consult with the previous chairperson. As much as how we are making submissions of these documents to the ministry, we would have to do our own present research as well.
I believe so as well. That's a good idea.
Yeah. However, I have no problem in submitting a copy of the letter and as well as a Roberts Grove declaration that was issued back in March 2005.
Could you
I'd love to see
I don't know if you have a typewriter or whatever, but how, Robert, as what is the name of that declaration?
The Roberts Grove declaration.
I don't get that word, the second word though, but
Roberts Grove.
Grove as in mangrove.
Yeah, Roberts Grove, yeah.
Roberts Grove declaration. All right.
Yeah, I will definitely send you a copy of that. As a matter of fact, Mr. Hino, what I will do is that I'll send on WhatsApp a copy of the letter along with the declaration that I sent to the ministry. No, I'll do that now.
Yes. We want to find out what the ministry, because they are very much. I don't trust the ministries anyway, and they very much like to do all these hanky-panky things. All right, and we need to put a deadline as to, a time frame as to how we want them to respond. And Jose, we want to come back to you and talk about that. But let's find out what's going on in Georgetown, and before I come back to Miss Williams, and talk to her about her work in St. Bite as a midwife, queen of St. Bite. And Desmond, welcome to the Radio
Good,
Dumurei.
good evening. Everybody hearing me loud and clear?
Yeah, we're hearing you loud and clear. How
Yes,
long
loud
have
and
you
clear.
been a chairperson of Georgetown?
Well, this is my first term, and the tenure for local government is 3 years. So I'm midway between the 3 years.
Good.
First of all, I want to say Happy New Year to everyone who is live online.
Happy New Year.
I must express my sincere apologies for being active at this point due to internet difficulties earlier. No,
Yeah,
I'm a bit lost. So would like a little highlight as to what has transpired while I wasn't here hearing anything. No.
Yeah, so we're very concerned about the Garifuna land rights issue. And we, from my perspective, think that precedence has been set with reference to the Maya land right case in terms of the judge adjudicating that the indigenous Maya of Belize do have a case to preserve their customary land. And so we are much aware that they have been facilitated, right, with their land rights issue and have been accommodated by domestic laws and international laws. And my question has been, what makes the Mayan indigenous as a entity to have more land rights than the Garifuna indigenous? And perhaps you might not want to answer that question because it's a rhetorical question, but I want to know what is the issue of land when it comes to the Garifuna indigenous in Georgetown. What is your views on that?
Well, first of all, I want to begin by saying that it is an undeniable fact that the government officials or politics has been dominating the way whole land has been distributed in our country for quite some time. And then we can't sugarcoat it because it's a reality and it is happening in our daily lives. So I believe that it is imperative of the Garifuna Council, the village councils, by extension, the entire world that works with Garinago, for us to try to come together collaboratively to try to see how we could try to ensure that this culture stops. I know it's going to be a difficult task, but I believe that all these things need to be quarantined. The politics need to be quarantined in terms of how lands will be distributed specifically for Garifuna communities. But when it comes to Georgetown, I must say that, again, it goes back to the culture again, that politicians have been doing their own thing, making recommendation, disrespecting elected officials in the community, etc. And it is my hope that this culture changes. But when it comes to Georgetown, I must say that we have a little bit of land available. And it is my hope I'm trying to secure that for the people of Georgetown.
Yeah, I think our dilemma is our dilemma as human beings, because I think some of the politicians are human beings. People don't like when I talk like that, but when you're talking to a ministry of culture that is uncultured, right? Or when people who are cultured are trying to tell them this is not the way to do things. This is, we are a cultured people, respectful people. But when you find ministers of government who are uncultured, it seems to me like, we are up a creek. But thanks for informing us that, politicians in Belize have this tendency, perhaps it's a part of their DNA, to disrespect cultured people. And we are here, right, from the Garifuna Nation to make the world known that all this noise that they were making about how the UNESCO has declared, the Garifuna culture, arts, sang and dance as a gift to humanity, right? And then I said, yeah, they forget one part of that phrase. We are a gift to humanity in the face of inhumanity. And we face it every day, right? Why do we have a Ministry of Culture that's uncultured? I don't know. But I think Joe and Bill has some questions for you. Over to you, Joe. Bill, we're not hearing you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah. You know, I want to address something. Whenever we go talk about land or acquiring land, or the phrase that I like to use, reclaiming our land,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
the question seems to always come up. People always ask, well, what are you going to do with the land?
Exactly. Yeah.
We
That's
don't have to do anything. I just want to make it clear.
Yes.
We don't have to do anything with this land because it belongs to us.
Correct.
Claiming to getting the land and the auspices that we are going to do A, B, and C with this land is irrelevant.
Exactly.
It's only to satisfy the political wing and that Westminster influence government.
Yes.
So we have to be clear about this. Let's not shoot ourselves in the foot. Okay.
Yes.
When we reclaim our land, we could just let it sit there. If we choose to do that, it is our land. That's what it means when it means when you own something. You can do with it or don't do with it. It still belongs to you.
Yes.
And according to international law, Garinagu satisfy all the definitions by international law as indigenous people. Furthermore, the government of Belize view us as indigenous people. The only thing that we haven't done that we need to do is to approach the government about our indigenous status. And we have not yet, with all the leaderships that we have in Belize and having these conferences and these votes and the representation and traveling to different countries representing Garinagu, we have yet to represent the Garinagu with our own government. So we talking about this land issue, and I know people say, well, we got to get the land to do this and this and this. See, but most of what I'm hearing here is acquiring the land, and the land is still going to be ruled by them because we acquire it. We acquire it with their concerns and not with ours. See, the law for indigenous people is specific and it's different than the law of the country. Now, it is understood that we will work within the confines of Belize law because we are Belizeans. But as far as the land issue go, we were there before Belize was there, before British Honduras was there, before the British settlement was there, before those crooks were there.
Yeah, pirates.
Those pirates.
So the pirates occupied Belize, right?
Yes.
And did not allow us into the Belize settlement, right? 36 miles was the distance that we need to keep from the pirates settlement. The colony became a colony in 18 whatever, but we were there 1801 from the Sabun to the Sarsoon. So why is that not taught to us? Why don't they teach us? Go ahead, Bill.
Egbert, may I say something briefly here? You just said that we didn't include us as part of the country, and that is true. Even the British at the inception of the country told the world that we were not a part of them. And the proof is, if we wanted to go into the part of the country that they occupied, we had to present a passport. Yes. So if we were Belizeans or British Honduranians at that time, you wouldn't need a passport to travel within your country.
Yes, 36 miles.
Yes, 36 miles. So even England is saying that this is not their land, this is our land. So let's keep that in mind and let that be our primary focus, because all we have to do is have this discussion with the government of Belize.
Yes.
Well, what I was interested in finding out from Mr. Ramirez, have you guys also performed land demarcation for the village?
The question for you, Mr. Ramirez. You have to unmute, Desmond. You have to unmute. Go ahead.
Yes, we were about to consult. Because what happened is we had a meeting couple months back with one Solomon Marine. He was working in conjunction with the Garifuna Council. The Garifuna Council did invite him for us to try to see how we could work together in an effort to ensure that the lands that belong to Georgetown does not go into the hands of those that are not from Georgetown. But because of the entire COVID issue and stuff like that, that was held on halt, no? But I spoke to Mr. Marin this morning. So we should be meeting sometime in the week to continue that project now. And it is very important, and then the urgency, and also the urgency. That's what I told him this morning.
Yes, my question,
yeah.
Joe, go ahead.
Egbert, actually, these two gentlemen, I would like, when we come to the point where we start to analyze everything that we're discussing, then there are other questions I have, but when we get into a more group discussion. But for right now, Mr. Ramadical Ramirez, do you also have any data on the compilation of the historical research of the village?
Well, at this moment, I will have to check with the previous administration or the previous village council. They were the ones that began, and then I was supposed to get a copy of it, no, along with the addition to it. But
Okay, thank you very much.
It is something that will be done.
Okay, thank you.
So I wanted to just be clear for my own records that this demarcation project that is being undertaken in conjunction with the two villages are in conjunction with the National Garifuna Council. Is that right?
Perfect.
That is totally
Mr.
correct.
Aliman, but before you go further, I must say that I hope that this culture again doesn't repeat itself. Reason being, I went in person to the lands department in Dangriga.
Yes.
2 months back, and I felt disappointed leaving from there when the guy from my lands, I told him that we're about to do demarcation of Georgetown to see what actually are the boundaries, etc., for the community. And he was telling me that Georgetown has not defined or set boundaries. I was telling him no.
Who's this?
I don't know the name of the guy that works at the lands department in Angola.
Yeah, they don't have no jurisdiction. They don't know what they're doing and talking. They are just like they are just a part that spoke for the wheel. They just need to be told what to do. They have no idea of history.
I actually agree with him. Mr. Aleman, unless they have done a thorough research, historical research, and I might add, historical research includes going to the village and interviewing the old people, all the elders, so that they can tell you where the boundaries are. That's actually the law, So I agree.
Excuse me, correction. Yeah, there are no demarcation, none. Only one village in the whole country of Belize, and that's Moscow, that have a definite border.
Well, that's what I am trying to say, that I agree with the lands department. There is no demarcation. So that means that we have to demarcate, and we have to do it properly and in accordance with the ILO 169 when it comes to the NGC. That's how they're supposed to look at it.
Yeah.
And so there is a lot to be done, and that's a part of it.
So I want to ask him both village chairpersons, because we're running out of time. We want to talk to the midwife here, and Miss. Have you familiarized yourself with both chairpersons, Desmond and Joe Jose Aleman? Are you familiar with ILO Convention 169 in its detail, because it's a very comprehensive document? ILO 169. Are you familiar with it? Jose, you first.
No, sir. I am not familiar with it.
I'm not hearing you.
I am not familiar with it.
Good. How about you, Desmond?
I haven't gone in details with it now.
Yeah, so it's available on Google. You guys need to get a hold of it. You need to get a hold of ILO Convention 169 because it's an international law, right? It's an international convention to which the government of Belize, the government meaning us, right? And when I say government, I'm not talking about the executive and the legislative branch of government and judiciary. They represent us, we the government. They need to follow international law. And if they're out of sync with international law and conventions, then they're lawless.
That's what the Maya case was about, in fact.
Go ahead, Joe.
Because they're out of the Maya land rights case was about that because they were, you put it, out of sync with the law, international law. That's what the Maya claimed. The same thing, that basically they were violating, they used the word violating their collective land rights. But in both villages seems to have a working relationship with the NGC. Now, what I'm wondering, let's say we are on the other side of demarcating, you have demarcated the land. And by the way, it seems to me you guys are working for the government and doing the government's job for free. And I congratulate you guys for that, because it's the government's job to demarcate the village. And that's according to Belize law and international law as well. But in any event, when you guys have finished demarcating the land for the government of Belize, they're going to swoop right in and give all the villagers lots. Is that correct? Is that what we're hoping for?
Well,
You're closer to the mic, Jose. Yeah, they're going in and out. The internet is.
It's a funny situation, Joe, because then the peninsula on a whole is out of land, right?
I didn't get that. We're going in and out.
That is the Placentia Peninsula, which is inclusive of and Placentia villages. However, like I made mention in my presentation when I first started, that our aim is to seek land expansion for same height. And it goes right back into the research that you guys have been mentioning, because traditionally or historically, we do have Garifuna land out there that were given to our ancestors, or where they used to do their farming. Just to mention one of them, we have the Jenkins Creeks area, right? Which is primarily for Stamite, some 200 plus acres of land that were issued to men from Stamite that went to World War II. And that is the reason why I'm telling you that some of our research are based on past information that we still need to retrieve, and some present researching that has been conducted by the council as well as personnel from the National Garifuna Council Stamite branch. So it's not only the NGC in collaboration with the village council that is seeking this demarcation, but the council on a whole is actually going on this race as well. That means if we do the demarcation first, it kind of cover the job for NGC, who is going to see that the demarcation is fully completed, and then also seek for compensation, as many of land grabs have happened on the peninsula, and we have lost our jewel, majority of it here in Stamite, to real estaters, to foreigners, to expatriates that have come on the peninsula and has taken away all of these lands. So as a land report, as we have sent as well to government, is for them to identify green parcels of lands so that the people of Stamite can expand and everybody can be a first-time landowner.
Well, yeah, I like that, Joe. Hold on. I like that projection there. And in other words, what land was ours was stolen or taken away illegally, and so we need compensation. But I also want to find out how the village council operates. How do you get revenue? You get revenue from land taxes, or you get revenue as dictated by the central government?
All villages, I assume, Because myself and Mr. Ramirez is also a part of TAVCO. And the only revenue that we receive is a farm of liquor license. Receive one time per year.
So all those lands that were stolen, taken away on the Placentia Peninsula, all that revenue from land goes to central government. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. It is directed directly to the central government. However,
so all the farmers, all the farmland in Georgetown, all the farmland and lots, all those taxes from the villages, from land lots, and from farmlands, all that goes to central government. Is that correct?
Well, speaking for Georgetown, I must say that when it comes to, well, actually we're doing subdivision at the moment. But first of all, I want to express a little bit of condolences to Mr. Aleman for not having, because we are part of DAVCO, as he mentioned earlier. And indeed, looking at it, Semite has, in a nutshell, no lands for the future generation. But I must say that when it comes to the distribution of farm lots and land in Georgetown, I must say that the last administration, I wasn't aware of what they did. But what I can say is that they were the ones solely in charge of distribution of the land. So I'm not sure if the council did collect any sort of revenue based on those lots. But I could talk about presently that we are doing subdivision, the surveyor collects a portion, and then a little percentage is added to the village council for that. Because government no longer pay for surveying. The surveying is private. So I must say that if for argument's sake, if a land cost, if the surveyor is charging, for argument's sake, $300 for surveying, we would charge about $5. So $200 goes to the council.
Now, gentlemen,
yeah. I want to say we want to spend like 5 or 10 more minutes on this discussion so that I could jump to talk to the midwife of Sinbay. Go ahead.
We may have to have these gentlemen back because there simply is not enough time today.
Yeah.
So I'm going to refrain because I don't want to start. I'll be very frustrated if we can't finish. So I won't start until they come back. Okay?
Go ahead. I would say go ahead, Joe.
All right, gentlemen. You see, I am very versed in land and indigenous rights and how it works with the government, etc. I'm very, very versed. And let's say you are successful and the government is giving you back land. Now, the government has stolen land from Garifuna. They haven't stolen it from the village because the village can include non-Garinago. So the government took land that actually belonged to Garinago and only Garinago. So I am wondering what kind of scheme, what kind of plan is there? Let's say, when Gaspar Vega gave his son land and the government or sold the land to somebody, and then that somebody happened to sell it to Gaspar Vega's son, then they realized that the land belonged to someone else. So the government had to make relief to Gaspar Vega's son to the tune of $200,000 for something he paid $10,000 for. So what I'm saying is not really anything political, but I'm just saying that there is a system of relief. Now, the land that the government took and stole and grabbed in St. Bite and Georgetown belonged to Garifuna only. So you can't compensate non-Garifuna for land that belonged to somebody else. So let's say the government took your land away and then they decide to compensate you $500,000. Why do you have to come and share it with me? It's not mine, it's yours. You see? So what I'm saying is that there are other ramifications that I am not hearing coming from the plan between NGC and the village council. And I think that there are lots more ramifications that we need to look at. So international law says if you're going to, and by the way, you as the village people, this is very important distinction I want to make. You as the village council, you are a function of the government. So the National Garifuna Council would be a function supposedly of the Garifuna people who live in the village. You see, you're just a function of the government by way of doing the government's work in the village, and then the National Garifuna Council would be the ones who would look out for the best interests, supposedly, of the Garifuna people who are losing the land, So when the Garifuna people,
Judith.
when the Garifuna of the villages get compensated, that money is theirs. Or the government give them back the land and compensate the people to whom they gave the land, as in the case of Gaspar Vega's son and Sharon Robert Two Pitts at the time.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Jose.
I
Joe.
know. That's a lot. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead, please.
Yeah. I want to ask this gentleman if they would be willing to return another time.
What I have to say is in connection with your question, Mr. Ihinio.
Yes,
when
go
you
ahead.
started to, about the land between the Maya and the Garifuna people, or what?
Yeah.
Basically, what happened? The Maya are more aggressive than the Garifuna people, no matter what you say, no matter what anybody.
Don't say yes, ma'am.
Yes,
ma'am.
Because at the end of the day, we are more laid back when it comes to land. Regardless of who the chairperson is or so, at the end of the day, we do not walk together to get what we need as a people. So I'm listening, and I can hear that they're trying to work along with NGC and the government. But NGC at this point too is a layback organization for us. So we need to just work together and get our land or claim our land so that government can understand this is ours. Like, for example, for CNBI, we know where it starts and we know where it ends.
Yes.
And yet we know exactly what's happening to the land, where tourism gets in and this one gets a piece of this one come in, this other one comes and just give away land and etc. And yet we as a people, sometimes we know about it, sometimes we don't. Sometimes our chairman knows, sometimes he doesn't. But yet when they know or they knew about it, they tell us nothing in the community. So how can we stand together if we don't know?
But ma'am,
that's a very good question, Joe.
May I point out something to you?
Let me hear you.
I am glad for your insight, because then it brings up a question. If the NGC in the village is working along with the village council to resolve the issue of demarcation, I'm wondering, what is the goal after the demarcation? And then why is it that I think the village council and NGC should have a meeting where they inform and teach the people about what the options are, not just choose an option and then try to make that option. They need to let the people know what the options are, because there are options than to just say, okay, we lost the land already. No. There are options. And so I'm just curious, since they're working together, how come it is that you have this impression that they don't tell anyone anything, or they don't talk, communicate as much?
I remember one day there was a land issue here in my village about some land issue by the lagoon or something. When they said that the tourism board came and talk about it, want to know if they can take some land or something, but at the end of the day, they said nobody showed up, but nobody knew they were coming. So sometimes the information did not pass. So how can
what was the outcome? So they took the land because nobody showed up?
I'm not sure what happened with that. That's before Mr. Jose came into power. But I'm just saying.
Yeah, that is what I was going to say right now, Mr.
Okay.
If you were talking about past or present, no?
No.
That was what I was going to lead to, because the city's conversation is focusing on present, but when we make those type of declarations now, we need to pinpoint under whose administration, if it is past or present, because if I am just a vivid listener here and not certain of what is taking place, I would take that it is the present administration.
Right. No, I'm just giving example basically, because it's like when they call Timbite Placencia North, It's also because of the fact that they were not properly represented why tourist board decide that they can call Team by Placentia North. You know,
Yes.
so it's just something like that that keeps happening. So I'm hoping that under Jose, you know, that we will become more aware of what's happening here in our community. Because so far we're not having meetings, so I don't know what's happening here.
Well, I want to make you guys, all of us right now, Jose Maria Aleman is here, Mr. Desmond Ramirez is here, and Miss Judith, because you seem to be a very concerned citizen, and I like people like that. Ma'am, I think all of us need to be aware right here and right now that Judge Conte's decision in the Maya land rights case, he said that he was affirming the rights of the Maya to collective ownership. Now, that's a very important thing for Placencia, for Saint Bite and for Georgetown. It's very important that he said he affirmed their rights. What it means is that they always had what's called the collective rights, which means they own the land together. It's actually owned like a private title, but they own it together as a collective. And Judge Contes said they had that right before the border moved from Sibun to Sarstoon. Now, who else was in the border when it moved from Sibun to Sarstoon? Garinagu were there. So that means any land that you occupy, you actually own. But what happened is that the government never had a system to give the collective people a title. So instead of giving collective people a title, they started to title it out to everybody else but the people who own it. And that's where the government went wrong with giving away any land from St. Bite or from Georgetown. You see? And that includes all Garifuna village. We actually own it. So Garifuna villages have an owner. So that's why I am very perplexed why we're going to tolerate the government to demarcate and then plot out the land and then sell it at a price that you can't afford and give it to somebody else when it already belongs to you. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'd like us all to know and be aware of.
The question I ask is, why is it that Garifuna people are buying land that they once owned?
Not once owned,
that we own. No, once owned, we
still
own.
own it. And you're buying land that you own.
So if we go to that's what Conte was saying. We affirm our rights. We must affirm our indigenous rights. And
yes,
so this hanky-panky way of going around the merry-go-round, BSing us, that we have to buy our own land,
Judge Conte. It's all
is ignoring international law.
And so, that's what you guys hear about the consent decree. The consent decree is agreeing with Judge Conte that the rights to own the land collectively is affirmed. So that means you own it already. Yes. So why are we going to apply to the government when the government should give say the NGC in St. Bite or Georgetown? They should get one title like the Maya got their title. The NGC needs one single title for the entire village. Then the NGC give you guys your land make go live on, and then you pass it on to generations, and you pass it on to generations, just like a land title. But the only thing is you can't sell it if you want to move on it. You sell the rights to our next Garifuna. That's the thing.
And this is nothing new. This is how nations are established.
And that's the way it is.
I don't know if you go to Sweden and buy Swedish land. How could you do that?
No, you can't. Hey, closer. You can't even go to Maya and get piece of land in Maya land. Why? Because they control it.
Exactly. But
and
brothers,
we have the same rights.
Brothers, segueing to land rights, I want to talk to Miss Dora Williams, elderly person in St. Bite, who have burned a lot of young children from birth, from the womb. She's a midwife from St. Bite. Ms. Dora, I want to welcome you to Radio Dumerei.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Henio.
Ms. Dora, I've heard so much about you being a midwife. How long have you been a midwife in St. Bite?
Since 1980.
1980s. So you know how many children you deliver?
I'm delivering from 1977.
So how many children would that be an account?
Over 800 children.
800 children.
And the same mothers that I delivered then, I am delivering the children now.
So, Ms. Dora, and where did you get this skill? How did you come about to, be a midwife? How the training and so on?
Oh, because to begin with, I have 2 of my children that I attend clinic in Independence. Here it comes to me that one day I want to be a midwife so that I can help my community. Then we will go to Mango Creek Independence for prenatal clinic, and it happened. So when nurse Bennett was here, I started attending her delivery. Any delivery is at 2 o'clock midnight in the night, she call me so that I can go and witness it. Out of witnessing it, I did do delivery in front of her, and everything was okay. In 1979, we had a nurse Ireland. I took 6 months classes with her. I'm the only one from St. Bite, 1 from Georgetown, and 7 from Placentia. I'm the only one here from St. Bite, and up to now, I'm still the only one since then.
Miss, I find it amazing and fascinating that you have delivered 800 children in St. Bite. Do you have like a nursing assistant beside you when you deliver these babies? Is there somebody to us?
I'm by myself.
So this.
My first question to them is if they attend prenatal clinic, when last into clinic, and then they bring their card, and once I see that card, everything is okay in that card, I can deliver them. But presently right now, most of them when they come, once they can reach Dangriga, I send them to Dangriga. One now I deliver them because they can't reach Dangriga. But if they can, I refer them to Dangriga.
So when you deliver these babies, do you go to their home or they come to your home?
They come to my home. I prepare for them.
Wow, 800 babies.
Anytime, day and night. When I started it, yes, I went to their house. But they have no convenience. That's why I do my convenience at my house.
Wow. So you are like you so you've been trained. You have some kind of like validation from the government of Belize. They recognize your skill, and and so many people trust in your delivery methodology. I understand that Garifuna midwives have a certain method that after you deliver the baby, the woman's supposed to rest for a couple, weeks, months, and then there's a massage ritual, and medicine that they would drink. What do you know about that, Miss Williams?
When I ask them, some of them do not believe in it no longer. They don't even know what to do. They don't even know Spanish medicine. Maybe they do the massage 9 days after. But otherwise than that, the following day after they have baby, sit on the street.
But with you now, you give them the 9-day massage, or
some of them did come. Some of them did come.
For the massage.
The last word I told them, just take care of yourself and rest, and don't look outside every now and then. Mind the breeze, tie your head, and something. Advise them what to do, and continue breastfeed the baby, just like that. But some of them do not do it. Some they do breastfeed though. That is.
Yeah. But tell me something about the massage after the 9 months of a swell stomach. I'm told they got to be wrapped around, some kind of wrapping go on the massage. Tell me more about that.
No, they only ban yourself maybe for 3 months.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, but then you massage, But otherwise than that,
you massage them, Miss William. You massage them, or you have somebody else do that?
I do massage.
So that's why I noticed, in some cultures the woman belly stays swell up, but in the Garifuna culture, I noticed most of the women bellies flattened down a little bit. Is that because of the binding on the stomach and the massage?
Well, I have no idea what would cause that, but they get good massage.
So the belly go down and like natural, like before. They look.
Yes, yes, yes. Because some of them, I introduce them to drink the Sorosi and the Spanish medicine. We should clean them up, you know.
The Sorosi and the Spanish medicine, that's to clean.
Yes, they have. Remember, they have 9 kinds of Spanish medicine, plus the, and then they cook that with garlic, and then they drink that. Oh, that's clean you right now. And more so, when you breastfeed, that helps you too.
It helps the woman.
Yes, it helps the lady, it helps the woman.
So in your delivery, from 1970, I don't know how many years that is. From 1970, you've been delivering babies. None of the babies have been miscarriage. You have never lost any baby in your delivery.
Except 1 or 2 stillbirths.
Oh, okay.
I deliver twins, I deliver breech, I deliver face up, I deliver finger, whatever. God gives that position, and He bless me. Thank God for it.
Wow. Joe, you have any questions for the expert?
Yes, indeed. I'm listening and I'm very captivated. But Mom, what do you do to help them ease the pain? Because you know, in the hospital, I'm a nurse. In the hospital, they give them all kinds of pain medication through intravenous means. But how do you help them to deal with the pain of the childbirth and the process?
This is a village. We do not have anything like those in the village. We go with the nature, the pain, and you deliver, and everything done.
I know some doctors like to get jokes, make them laugh a little bit, so they don't feel the pain.
I did that, and I tell them to walk so that they won't stay with pain a lot. Just when the pain comes, when you sit down, you bear it down. When the pain is, you continue walking the step up. Because you know the matter.
Do you practice, or do you include any kind of traditional Garifuna practices in the childbirth method at all in your practice?
I do not. I do not do any. Just a natural delivery.
So does the administration, the nursing department, or the medical department of Belize give you any kind of compensation or support in this service that you provide, Ms. Williams?
Well, I can say when I need something and I ask for it and I did get it.
So I would imagine some kind of I don't know what have no idea, but Joe is a nurse, and so you would talk about equipments, very basic equipments. I don't know what would that be, Joe, for delivering babies? Towels.
What you would be concerned? Yeah, you would be concerned about maintaining a clean or sterile environment, as sterile as possible. And how do you do that, ma'am, in your practice? How do you maintain the clean environment around them?
After my delivery, I sterilize all my things there. The scissors, the forceps, this is everything. And I always use a new glove, tear it up in front of them. Then I use
right. Wow, I myself was midwife birth, and I was born in the house at home on Sawai Street. Yeah.
This is an important skill, and I think we
have you passed it on to anyone, Miss Dora?
Not yet. The young lady who had wanted it to learn, she passed it a couple of years ago. And up to now, nobody come to me. Nobody, absolutely. And I would be willing to help.
Yeah, we need to encourage that. As a matter of fact, I think we should promote that, Joe. We need to, honor Miss Williams in some shape or form for, delivering over 800 babies in St. Bite, no complications. This is a miracle. You know, this is one of the only things that I would consider a miracle in this world, delivering babies. I'm very much, you know, in honor with your skill, Miss Williams, and I want to invite you to, you know, to work with us in the Garifuna Nation and see how we could pass on this skill and the Garifuna way of delivering, you know, babies, and helping the mothers recuperate, because it seems that we have a secret to pass on to the mothers after they deliver, and they look like they never had a baby, after they come through, you know, delivery ritual that you administer to them. I want to thank you very much for sharing.
Right now with this COVID, many coming to me to deliver them. They are afraid to go to the hospital, but I still for the hospital. Those who can't, well, I can deliver them because they can't go to.
Yeah, tell us. Maybe after the show, you could communicate with us and see how we could help, how we could be of assistance to the service you provide to our people in Sienbai.
Okay.
Tell us. We would like to be a part of this amazing service you provide. Brother Bill, Brother Joe, Jose, and Amy. I see Amy, you're there. You want to give us the last word, Amy, and then we could go to Leroy, Bill, Jose. Anybody? The last word to Miss Judith Williams, Miss Dora Williams, to Miss Dora Williams. We want to give the last word to Miss Dora Williams. Amy, you got her on mute. Amy is a doctor working and studying in Jamaica. Amy? You have to unmute, Amy. Well, meanwhile, Amy is trying to figure out her machine. Desmond, you want to give the last word?
Well, I want to say kudos and my sincere appreciation and respect to Miss Williams for that job that she has been doing for quite some times now, and 800 is a lot of children.
Yeah.
I must say, I salute her with, and I wish her God's richest blessings now and forever.
Yeah, and hopefully we could get somebody from Georgetown to understudy her.
Yeah, what happened is we had one a couple of years ago, but she passed away, and her name was Mrs. Lopez.
She was along with me training.
Yes, I think Miss Williams is aware of her.
She's along with me training for training.
Yeah, we have to honor.
Well, what she did, if I'm not mistaken, is that she had trained her daughter.
Okay.
But it is not something that her daughter took to heart, no?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure if her daughter is actually practicing it anymore.
Yeah, but we want to honor the women who do these little miracles. I said these are very, miracles, very much miracles that we need in our community. I want to embrace that. Jose Aleman, you want to give us the last word? Go ahead, Desmond.
Since my mic is still on mute, I want to take this opportunity on another page, no, to inform the Garifuna Nation that the Georgetown Church Committee has been working diligently in trying to prepare a concrete church. And we have gotten the structure, we have gotten the zinc, and we're only short of windows and doors, no? So if Garifuna Nation could try to render some sort of assistance, it would be highly appreciated.
Good. We'll follow that up offline. Desmond, we will keep in touch with you.
It's perfect.
Good joke. All right. Jose Aleman, you want to give us the last word? Your last word, Jose?
Joe, Mr. Hino, since you have given me that phone call the first time, I'd just like to say thanks for the invite. It was a very informative session, of course.
Yeah, you're fading out. You're fading out.
Mm-hmm.
You're fading out, Jose.
We have heard much. Yeah, you heard me?
Yeah, we're hearing you, but you're fading out. Yeah, you're fading out. We hope that this problem would be resolved.
Definite.
Yeah, we hope that this internet would be resolved for next week, because next week we want to focus on our economic summit, and we'll be virtually broadcasting from Sienbai.
Yeah,
the economic summit is next weekend. Yes, so we will put Bite on the map, and we hope that you will be able to participate now in some of the discussions by, why I say, some of the big wigs that are coming on that show next week, Friday and Saturday. Bill?
Joe?
Yeah,
Hello.
we have been advocating for.
Wait. I think Jose Maria or one of those guys trying to talk. Can we go to them first, please?
Jose, go ahead, Jose.
Hello?
Yeah, I could hear you now.
Yeah, I was stepping out and it was because of the mask. I just conscious.
Okay.
I would just like to say thanks for the invite and for the very informative session. But moreover,
yes,
I'd like to dedicate this session wholeheartedly to one of our legends. That is Miss Dora Williams. I know she had spoken about the amount of babies she has delivered, but I'm not certain if she also mentioned the advocacy and the special person she has been within the community and the community service other than delivering babies that she has done within the community. She has served as a lay minister from before I was a little boy. Also, she was very instrumental on the same Water Board, which was taken from us by the previous administration, and we're hoping to get it back. Along with that, we spoke about the Roberts Grove Agreement. In her time, she was one of the people who was instrumental behind that, along with the council and other villagers then. So you see, other than delivering, there are a lot of other things that Mrs. Dora Williams has contributed to within the community in itself. So I must say, she is a blessing to the community on a whole, and we're hoping to have more people like herself as we go into our era of getting the job done.
Very good, Jose. Jose, I want to follow up on that. I want to follow up on that very much. That recommendation that she needs special mention, and we'll do it at the summit 15, 16. We want to do something about that, Jose.
Can I say something, Mr. Henio?
Yes, Miss Dora.
Yes. In my community, I was a community health worker.
Yes.
When I was a community health worker, I worked at the health center for 2 years without a nurse. I do social home visit, prenatal, just name it, as a nurse. And my whole community was happy when I was at the health center. Then,
very good.
I work as a nurse.
Yes, we like our people who are very knowledgeable and are experts at their field to work in our community. We get better results. Thank you, Ms. Dora Williams. We appreciate you, and we need to do something in your honor for the services that you have provided to CNBite. Bill?
Thank you.
Yeah, I want to thank everybody who participated in this conversation. And at times it may seems like my advocation for our land rights seem like I might become impatient. At times I am, because this is something that I've been doing now for over 25 years, advocating for our land rights. And I also understand that the true effectiveness of fighting for land rights will be done on the ground. But I'm not on the ground, so I see my role in this as education to our leaders on the ground, and that is why I versed myself in the tenets of the ILO 169, on the ANDRIP, and on the Conference for Biodiversity. If we end the Belize law, when I talk about Belize land, I remove my idea from the way the Crown view the land and look at the land. I look at our land through an indigenous lens, not through any state lens, but through an indigenous lens, because these indigenous lenses have been magnified, and they've been magnified by the ILO 169. It's been magnified by the Maya land rights case, and it's also magnified by the affirmation of the Caribbean courts. So this is the angle that I come from. And I do understand that we need to build communities, but I envision building a Garifuna community on Garifuna land. With that, I'll say Buitigunyo.
Buitigunyo, Bill, Buitigunyo. Amy, you got to unmute, and Leroy, you got 1 minute each as we are on the verge of signing out. Amy, go ahead, Leroy.
Yeah, I don't have much to say, but I got to thank Mrs. Williams, I think that's her name.
Yeah, Mr. Williams.
It was fascinating. I'm still impressed by the amount of work you gave and for how long you have done it and all you contribute to the Garifuna community.
Yeah.
Thank you. When I go to Belize, I would just love to meet you.
Yeah, please do. Please do. We want to give her all the support for all she has done. That's a big generational contribution. 800 people, and I multiply that times 5. Each person is good for a sibling of 5. Very well done. Amy, unmute. Give us your last word.
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hello.
I'm not getting, well, my internet's not working.
No excuses. Just go ahead. Just go
All
ahead.
righty then. All right. To what I'm gathering is that the Garifuna villages, because they're in front of the Caribbean Sea, it's really prime land, and then the government or whatever economic development or pocketing or stealing money or whatever it is, for them, they sell our land without our knowledge, and then this is the end product that we are in. And one of the defaults that we have is that we take it for granted that, oh, I am from Sienbai, I am from Hopkins, I am from Dumurei. Nobody will come and take away my land. But the world is evolving. If you don't have a land title, it's not yours, and that's what's happening to us now. Now, I respect Mr. Guerrero for the initiative of stepping forward so that we will come together as Garifuna Nation and fix this problem, because it is really affecting us as Garifuna people and our new generation to come.
Very good.
That's all I gotta say.
Very well said, Amy. And my question is, how can a group of lawful people communicate with a group of administrators who insist on being lawless? Or in another way, how can a group of cultured people, how can a group of cultured people talk to another set of uncultured ministers? That's an issue we have to deal with. And we are coming from the perspective of international law.
That's the only way we can beat them. That's the only way, because they have to respect international law.
We hope that they respect international law.
We will have to demand answers, and they have to fix what they have undone. They have to undone what they have done, whatever.
On that note, I'd like to move over to Saint-Germain to give us the sign out signal. Go ahead, Saint-Germain.
Before we go, I'd like to ask Mr. Aleman and Mr. Ramirez to hang on in the back so we can have a chat, please.
Yeah. But Saint-Germain, give us the
take it away.
Sign out signal.
Sarawam, Garinagu, Sarawam. Sarawam, Garinagu, Sarawam. Sarawam, Garinagu, Sarawam. Millennium 2000 is upon us. Still we sit around with a fuss. Arise, indigenous people. Sarawam, Garinagu, Sarawam. Sarawam, Lida, Yewenedu. Sarawam, Garinagu, Sarawam. Chulu, Hada, Niduhenyo. The time is now, Garinagu.
Thank you.